Well, it's time for me to catch up on the best damn TV show on TV. And that's Better Call Saul. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 episodes in this video, and that being Carrot and Stick, which is the 2nd episode of the 6th season, followed by Rock and Hard Place. Gee, those sound familiar. Which Rock and Hard Place is the 3rd episode, of course, of season 6. So the first one is more about the core of it, is the ongoing plot that Jimmy, or Saul now, and Kim are involved in. And it's funny, and it's how manipulative they've become, and they're dealing with people who are up to no good anyway, in the case of the Kettlemans. But the Kettlemans are a funny couple. It plays out really good. And they're the believable pawns that they're using against Howard, just to ruin him. Which at this point is, Howard was an a-hole who's kind of screwed him over, but there were even moments, now Jimmy's unaware of this, where he actually felt some sympathy for Jimmy when in the relationship to Jimmy's brother, and how his brother didn't appreciate the lengths that Jimmy went through to take care of him and all of that. It was more than enough to make up for whatever grievances he had against his brother over time, which is really more about their mother, and how, it wasn't really Jimmy's fault. But anyway, Jimmy doesn't know this, and he's, and how things went with his brother, rather than dealing with his own, part in all of that and what happened to his brother, he's unleashing it all on Howard. And Kim, of course, has her own reasons, feeling like she got screwed over by Howard and all that. And her love for Jimmy has more of an obsession, and that she's really becoming in love with this darkness that Jimmy brings, the corruption that he is and stuff, to the point that even in this episode is one of these signs where Saul is, well, you're going a little too far there, Kim. About how far she's willing to go to screw over the Kettlemans and all this stuff, and all of in the plot that they're using to try to ruin Howard. So that's very telling, and that's one of the cool, subtle ways of how they're demonstrating this, where you start out where Kim was an honorable person. She had this attraction for Jimmy. But all the cards were there in front of her. She knew what this would mean if she went down this road with him. And for, the variety of reasons the series has unfolded, she couldn't help herself. She chose that. But it was still a choice, and she chose it. And of course, the question remains, what became of Kim? She's not in Breaking Bad. Is she still alive? Did she run away? Will she show up at the end? When we jump into the future of the ultimate fate of Saul Goodman, Slip, and Jimmy. And that's the question that remains. But it is this, it's great performances, and the way it's displayed there of how she's turned. And it's the running theme of this world that, Breaking Bad was all about that. Even though when you follow the story, Walter White there was always a problem with the guy. he was just really beaten down by life up to that point, when he discovers this criminal world that he takes off on, and ultimately results in his destruction. But that's the deal, and it's always a choice, and there are many opportunities to get out, and they choose not to. That's pretty much what with Carrot and Stick, is that they're offering that it applies to the points they're making in the story and all that. But it appears Kim was more Stick in this episode. So meanwhile, the horrible saga of poor Nacho, who all he has left is trying to protect his father, and the gut-wrenching guilt and pain that he has that his father is very disappointed in him, and he can't tell him what's going on and all this stuff, and he's engaging in this ginormous sacrifice, which brings some amount of redemption for him, but nobody knows it except, I guess, Mike here. And Mike is, the heartstrings are really tugging on this guy. And this is another thing. This is the path he's made, and he knows where it goes. He was a dirty cop. He thought he had left that behind. He's doing it again, all for the sake of his granddaughter. Everything is about her, so that's what justifies it for him. But just how many people, that he knows are maybe not innocent, but they don't really deserve this, but it's going to happen, and there's not a lot. And he makes a stand here. That's quite the standoff with him and Gus and his other, henchmen there. And it's pretty powerful. And but Mike, and the fact that he would do that, because, it's all over. Whatever money, that's it, that he would have had after he died would, go to his granddaughter, I would assume. But it's not to the point that he had hoped to provide for her out of the guilt of the loss of his son, who was the good cop. He was the good guy, and it was everything he wasn't, and it's killing him now. And but there's just there's this code, there's a sense of honor there, even though they're engaging in these heinous crimes. And Mike is stone cold, and the badass of badasses, and he's the only one who could really stand up to Gus like that. And it's very simple. It's very way it's displayed and presented and all that, and that's part of the subtlety of the show, that they are able to command that. And of course, these great actors going off, and that's all a part of the delight of the series, that you get to do that. So this pours over into Rock&Hard Place, which is all about poor Nacho and his ultimate fate. I won't go into the entirety of the details, but I am pretty much spoiling it here. This is his ultimate fate. Can you guess what it was? Yes, he's dead. He dies. So his escape from the goons in Mexico, they're after him. They realize, he's the one who set them up, the Salamancas and all that, the big hit from last season. He's still on the run, and he can't really trust anyone. The only one he can trust is Mike, and Mike is actually trying to cast a line there. He had wanted to go get him. Gus was not wanting to do that. He said we could draw him out by kidnapping his father, and Mike said, no, we're not doing that. And that was the final draw there, and there was no way out for Nacho, and Nacho had to realize this. And so he gives himself up with the promise, and with Mike there to make sure that his father will be left alone. And that'll be the end of it, provided he delivers the story to keep Gus safe, from the family finding out that he's the one that's working on his ultimate plan of revenge, which of course we know he does achieve in Breaking Bad, but it results in his destruction as well. But nevertheless, that's the whole master plan, and we know that's the driving force for Gus ever since they murdered his lover from way back when. So it's a fine episode. It's, of course, once again, well shot and played, and the heartbreaking moments of his final conversation on the phone with his father for Nacho is very well performed. It'd be cool to see what if they do continue with the Scorpion in the Spider-Man films, because he's cast as the character in that first one, But anyway, the only thing and I guess it's fair in and of it, but as he's escaping, there's a big confrontation, and he manages to escape, but he has to find a place to hide, and he does, but it's just so obvious when they show up to look for him. It's so obvious that's where he would go. And but I guess you could chalk it up to where he's panicked, and what else does he do? And then, as it happens, there's something in the hidey place that's even more of a hidey place. It's rather disgusting, but it's what he's got to do to hide from them, and then make good on the deal. So, back around, it's like, well, I don't know, that's a little too, but that, it's not that big of a deal. I just thought maybe there could have been something else, but it was just, they're putting him through the ringer, how far he had to go for his basic redemption moment, that he's working to protect and save his father, and that's what he had to do. He does have a final good scene where he's able to tell off old man Hector, and it's it's all sad and funny and dark at the same time. The way it all rolls out, and but these are all well crafted characters, and it's just once again, and poor Mike is he's just forced to be the observer of this, and what are you gonna do? And probably one of the more times you see Gus about ready to, just about to be scared to death, but it works out, and he's able to walk away. So maybe a slight flaw, I guess, but not by much. And the more I think about it, it's like, well, yeah, it worked out, and the odds are that the without spoiling it, the means by which he could further hide from the guys coming after him, it's a minor thing, I think. So it's not that big of a deal. So continuing on, and when you have a character that has some that's vital to the core, and you pretty much can guess what his ultimate fate will be, unless of course they were going to do something, he got away and he shows up later or something in there, jump to the future. But I think that's primarily for Kim and no one else. But for poor Nacho, it was like, he's not in Breaking Bad, so gee, I wonder what happens to him. Then he's dead. And so, but it's an excellent send off for a character to give the character a respect, and who was very significant for the overall plot of how this series rolled out. So there we go. 2 great episodes of a very good show that, if you're not watching it, you need to check it out. You need to better watch Saul.